CDC recommends Pfizer, Moderna vaccines over J&J. Now, this was a CNN report. And I was just thinking, maybe that's why. Because that's why I said certain things are being said by certain health authorities. Now, the Centers for Disease Control, we're talking about the CDC is saying this. They recommend Pfizer and Moderna over J&J. And I'm like, what? I said, I got to read this. So this is the other report. And as I'm going through these things, we're going to have, different videos, and we're going to have what you call different parts of this, because I know people's attention span is only so much. But I just wanted to paint the picture of there's something going on here and you're not hearing about it. Okay. So what are they saying? They're saying that they prefer these other two over Johnson & Johnson. That's what the CDC says. Okay. It says the new recommendation, the mRNA vaccines are preferred over the Janssen pharmaceutical one, and for prevention of COVID-19 for those 18 years or over. So that's what they say. Okay. Then it says, let me read this part. Early Thursday, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices endorsed the updated recommendation after hearing new data indicating that a rare blood clotting syndrome is more common among people who recently got a J&J vaccine that previously believed. It's a CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, accepted the updated recommendation within hours. So it's like they jumped on that, okay? It says the CDC has logged 54 cases in the U.S. for thrombosis. Okay, that's that blood thing, okay? With thrombocytopenia syndrome, or TTS, in the U.S. since the vaccine became available. It says 9 people have died, 7 women and 2 men. I remember when the first reports came out, it was 7 people altogether. I think it was 6 women and 1 gentleman. Okay, so I guess they went up 2 more. Now remember, this is a rare event. And I'm picking up that if you have, or should I say, if you are prone to thrombocytopenia, then this is something that maybe you might want to check with your doctor before you get any vaccine. Okay? Just something to consider. It says rates are higher than previously estimated among both men and women, the CDC's Dr. Isaac C. told the meeting. It says, while only a few cases have been seen for every million people vaccinated by age group, they are higher than what was believed when vaccine advisors were last briefed. Okay. It says, we've been struck on reviewing these cases by how rapidly a patient deteriorates to death. Okay, so basically it said within the 9 days. 39 of 54 reported cases occurred before the CDC and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration paused administration of the vaccine in April to investigate the link. Okay, so in case you all didn't know this, when they had the initial rollout for the J&J, everybody was jumping on board. I told you, like, even when we went, it was a convention center, it was like thousands of people. And I'm saying, wow, everybody's about to get vaccinated. But they put the brakes on. So the CDC basically said, whoa, so I guess the government said no more J&J because people are getting blood clots. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how many people? How many people? And then I found out later on, and I'm gonna read this later. They found out that it was like 7 people in total, 6 women, 1 man, like I said earlier, out of over 1 million vaccines. And then I'm thinking, okay, but why? Is it just because you're a man or you're a woman? Or maybe you're prone to it. Now that's possible. But then I put it out there like that. They say, oh, it's blood clot situation. Okay. And I felt that was kind of irresponsible because, like I said, the other agencies, they said they outweigh the risk, even with blood clots. That's what they said. Okay. So it says the rates are now slightly higher, like they said, for all age groups, he said. The highest rate of TTS is among women, 10 per million vaccines given in women ages 30 to 39 and 9 per million in women ages 40 to 49. I'm sorry. That is so insignificant. And somebody said, oh, you shouldn't say that. Every life is valuable. I know that. Look at all of the drug companies that sell their stuff on TV. And every time you hear any drug out there, they always say, oh, maybe bleeding rectum and, you might have suicidal tendencies and even death. I'm just saying. And those are more common. But here you're talking about 10 women out of 1 million. 1 million. I mean, some people may want to roll the dice on those odds and say, hey, I'll go with that. At least I'll be protected because it might not be me. But they're not telling people that. They just say, oh, this is bad. Then it says the overall risk of developing TTS is 3.8 cases per million doses given. Again, real small number. It says the death rate is less than 1 per million doses given. That's 0.57 per million. And we're going to set the alarm. Oh, J&J's bad. I'm just saying. But let me tell you this real quick. Let me see if I can tell the story quick. So we were taking care of my mom-in-law, okay, over at my house. And my wife was taking care because she's doing the home health care. But then there was a nurse coming just to check on my mother-in-law. And then somehow the conversation came up about, getting vaccinated and stuff like that. And my wife had mentioned that, she got the J&J. And then the nurse was like, oh, like looking at her all sad and like, oh, that's so sad. Bad, this J&J's bad and stuff. And my wife, she's all, pure-hearted and stuff and just being all cool. And I was like, if that was me, because I overheard it. I said, if that was me, I would have been snapping off. Like, how dare you? Put this fear in me about my vaccine choice. I'm like, and you don't know anything. It's important what I'm about to say. I really like this guy. His name is Ari Melber. He's on MSNBC. It's called The Beat with Ari Melber. He said something that I will never forget, and I took it to heart. He said, know what you know and know what you don't know. And he said it to somebody, and he kind of baffled him with him. But he had to break it down. He said, know what you know. In other words, do your research, study to show yourself approved, here a little, there a little, rightly divide a word of truth or facts, and know what you know. That's what I do on the show. I know what I know. And I know what I don't know. Meaning, I don't know everything. Like somebody say, oh, can you fly this plane? No, because I don't know how to fly a plane. I'm just saying. Can you perform open heart surgery? No, because I don't know how to perform open heart surgery. But some people put so much stock in just people in general. Like, the health gurus or the pastors or whoever. And, they might say something and they go, oh, he said it. It must be important. And a lot of times it just be stuff that they don't know. But then they'll act like it's holy writ. That's why we got to be very careful when we talk to people. Our words are very powerful, and our influence carries very far, especially to young and naive. I mean, not everybody's naive, but I'm just saying some people are. And you got to really think about what you say and what influence you have over people. So think about that. Know what you know and know what you don't know. And I'll go one step further. And if you don't know something, don't act like you know it, because you don't. Okay. So moving on. It was an updated CDC recommendation follows similar recommendations from other countries, including Canada and the United Kingdom. Now remember, in the United Kingdom, you have the AstraZeneca. Now, some people may not like what I'm about to say about AstraZeneca, but I'm going to say it anyway because this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. It says, given the current state of the pandemic, both here and around the world, the ACIP reaffirmed that receiving any vaccine is better than being unvaccinated. That's what it said. It says individuals who are unable or unwilling to receive an mRNA vaccine will continue to have access to Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah, that's good. It said the ACIP also discussed the risk of completely removing J&J's vaccine as an option, as well as the potential confusion and mistrust that might be caused by changing recommendations about the vaccine. We will absolutely emphasize how important education around the risk of these events is, Oliver told the meeting. It says the VE, the vaccine effectiveness, is lower for the Janssen vaccine compared to the mRNA vaccines, Oliver said. Now, I'm just saying this is what the report says. So let's just take it as a grain of salt. It says the risk of myocarditis, that's that rare heart inflammatory condition, is lower for Moderna and Pfizer BioNTech vaccines than the risk of blood clots from J&J's vaccine. That's what they say. I'm just giving it to you how they say it. It says, but younger men may be advised to avoid mRNA vaccines. So if they're advised to avoid these mRNA vaccines, why are you putting a number on the risk factor? Ooh, J&J is more riskier than the mRNA. But if you're a young man, don't get the mRNA, get the J&J. That's what they're saying. So it's kind of weird how what they're saying, like I'm reading between the lines, I'm like, they're all risky to a certain degree, to a certain degree. Now, it says, so Oliver said that complete removal of recommendations for the J&J vaccine would cause problems. So people were talking about the J&J real bad, but now they found out that the mRNA has some issues with young men. They say, whoa, if we take away the J&J, then these young men may be more at risk. Can you imagine they get a booster? They may have this myocarditis, this inflammation in the inner walls of their heart. That's bad. We better have that option. J&J, stay around, please, because young men will be mad at us if they don't have that option. Or we, God forbid, they cover it up and say, hey, it wasn't us. I'm just saying. Now it says, plus the Janssen vaccine, which is the Johnson & Johnson. The Janssen vaccine is often the only shot available for prison populations, the homeless, and other high-risk groups. So you got to kind of keep that. And like, look, I said that about the mRNA. Ultra cold storage, you got to have 2 doses. I'm talking about to be so-called fully vaccinated. You got to get them spread out over time, the right interval. Moderna, 28 days, no room for error. You got to do it. That's what they said. And then the Pfizer, there's a little room. You got 4-day grace, but 21 days. Johnson & Johnson, 1 and you're done. That's the Johnson & Johnson. 6 months later, get the booster. Boom. Your immunity goes up 94%. Boom. You're like, well, okay, so why are they getting on J&J's case? Because they got the myocarditis issue. I mean, that's what they said. That's what the experts saying. But they said, well, our myocarditis issue is not as bad as the J&J's clotting issue. And you know what? They all risky to a certain degree with certain groups of people. Let's just call it like it is. Let's give them the good, the bad, and the ugly. But if you are generally healthy, you really don't have too much to be worried about, I guess. But it's something to consider anyway. You need to hear this information. It says, plus, you're going to eliminate the people in the prison, people in the homeless people, nursing homes and everywhere else for that matter. I mean, I don't know how widespread the Johnson & Johnson is, but I see it can be the one of choice because it's one and done. You don't have to wait so many days. You don't need ultra cold storage. Just something to think about. Okay. So it says earlier this week, the FDA strengthened language in the fact sheet that goes along with Janssen vaccine, saying it should not be given to anyone with a history of TTS. That's that thrombosis, the thrombocytopenia thing. If you had a history, they said, hey, it shouldn't be given to you. It says, there is, however, no clear risk factor for predicting who will develop the condition after getting the vaccine. Let me say that again. However, there is no clear risk factor for predicting who will develop the condition after getting the vaccine. That's what the CDC say. So basically, it's not something to be concerned with if you're not prone to the TTS. Now, if you're prone to that, my advice to you is you need to check with your doctor and say, hey, I want to get vaccinated. I mean, I want to get, let's say you want to get J&J. I want to get J&J, and I need some recommendation. And the doctor going to be like, you know what? If he don't know, he'd be like, you need to talk to your hematologist. Now you talk to the hematologist, blood doctor, he's basically gonna let you know if your numbers are good, okay, you're a candidate because your blood is okay. Or wait a minute, we might have to think this or rethink this and then give you the right recommendations. So you must check with your doctor before you actually getting any vaccine. That's what I think. Okay, so this whole process should increase confidence in our vaccine safety and surveillance system. Dr. Sandra said, I do think this vaccine needs to be made available. She said, we need a variety of vaccine platforms. So, we're getting it from everywhere. It's something to think about. And then the last thing, it says, Dr. Penny Heaton, global therapeutic head for vaccines at Janssen, told the meeting the J&J vaccine is unique. This is important. We are confident in the positive benefit risk profile of our vaccine. It is saving lives in the U.S., here today, and on every continent around the globe. Our vaccine is different. It's long lasting. It offers high levels of protection, and it offers breadth of protection. Heaton told, the meeting. It's easy to store and transport. Heaton said the J&J vaccine provides a different type of immunity that grows more slowly, but lasts longer. Did y'all catch that? So yeah, you're not getting that we're going to elicit an immune response like, Pfizer and Moderna. It's more like you're going to get an immune response, but we got something for you. It's going to grow more slowly and last much longer, the effects. Okay. So that means this vaccine is kind of like a smart vaccine, if you want to think about it like that. Something to think about. It says even in the U.S., given its durable protection, it may be the preferred choice for people who can't or won't return for multiple vaccinations, Heaton argued. She said the company has several studies underway to understand risk factors for TTS. Now, see, this is weird. If you get your first shot of the mRNA, you don't have as much protection as one shot of the J&J. That's a fact. But there's a lot of people that's not getting their second shot for the mRNA. I'll go one step further. And there's a lot of people that's not getting their booster who had the mRNA. I just gave you an example, like someone will get the second shot of the Moderna, and they're like, I don't know about that booster because of those effects. I ain't heard of those crazy effects with J&J. I mean, I heard maybe like the 24-hour bug type of thing, but not like, oh my goodness, I want to die or I feel like I'm about to die. I've been hearing that, not just with her, but different people feel like you want to die. I'm like, what is that feeling? That's crazy. Now, I think we just all need to hear this, the good, the bad, and the ugly of all of this stuff. The good is all the vaccines are effective. Let's keep it like that for a moment. Yeah. So I want to show you all something before I go into the next one. No, I take that back. I want to show you this first, real quick, and then we're going to go to the video because I want to not keep reading things and reading reports. I want to show you something because remember, I just went over efficacy is basically the ability, but effectiveness is success. Okay, that's the difference. But look at this.